Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. This is the Bitesize series, and today we are going to be looking at how to use controllers. Now in the last video I showed you how to basically use the controllers with bearings and things, but this time we're going to get a bit more complicated. So we're going to use this door over here as our little project door. And as you can see, things spin at different times and finish at different times. So the reason, as you can see, things have been set to do certain angles at certain times. So if we take this as we'll do it in time. So we'll say this is second 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So number 2 won't happen until number 1 is finished. So as you see, number 4 here is set to do a 90-degree turn to the right. However, that won't do anything. Number 2 won't do anything until this one has finished its movement. So that way you can set things to cross over themselves without actually hitting into each other. So if we watch this door again, see it just spins randomly and comes across and shuts nicely. So if we go to number 5 and say that on section 2 I want it to do a 270-degree spin, or we'll even say that it does a 360-degree spin. So let's do that, see what happens. So there you go, you see it's collided and it won't actually shut now because it's not done its full spin. So that is why we have to stagger things so that they don't actually crash into each other. Now let's say for instance that I want to add more bearings to an item. I've just put these here for the point of this. A controller can only take 10 bearings. After that it hits its limit, so I cannot connect any more than 10. See, nothing happens. So what you'd have to do is place a second controller. You cannot connect a controller to another controller, they don't like it. Even if it had the space, even if I took the bearing off and tried to connect it, they just don't do it. But you can connect it to the same switch, like so. So now if I wanted to, I could add all these extra bearings to this one, and they would work off of the same switch. So another thing that you can't do is connect switches together. So for instance, say I wanted this switch to tell this switch to do all these things. So I wanted this switch to be over here, like that. This switch will not connect to that switch, or to that switch either. They do not connect to each other at all. However, there is a way to get around this problem. If you get yourself a control chair or a driver's seat and place that down, then you can actually control a chair to multiple switches. Now you can see here that this one's come up with a 1 and this one's come up with a 2. So when I'm inside, if I pressed number 1, sorry, if I press number 2, the door actually works. You can see if I press 1, it's not actually connected to anything, but it does still flick. So that's one way of getting around the problem. Another little problem you can have is two controllers cannot connect to the same bearing. So say I want this bearing, this connector, to connect to this bearing here. Let's get rid of some of these. Okay, so I want this controller to connect to this bearing, but I want this controller to connect to this bearing. It won't actually do it. You cannot have two controllers working the same bearing. So this is a problem that comes up with if we're having a door like this one. If the switch is on the outside, you walk through, you can no longer shut that door without going outside and pressing it and trying to run back through, which you can't do. But what you can do is by setting down a chair, which must be connected by the way. So if we place down a chair, we can actually connect this chair to this control switch, and that's now set to number 1. So if I jump in, I can now open the doors from the inside. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments, give it a like. Any questions you might have, also give me a comment and I will try to answer them for you as best I can. If you like the series, you can click on the icon in the top left hand corner to click for the rest of the playlist. And why not give me a little subscribe? Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.